we're going to be studying the law of supply. All in a nutshell, the law of supply is there's enough to go around, but you have the power to access it or not. So one of the things that we have talked about before is the idea of potential, infinite source of supply. Everything comes from this humongous source of supply that never, ever, ever runs out. It is infinite. So if that's the case, if our supply that we're always drawing from, and that supply is any kind of wealth, not just monetary wealth, we are talking about the kind of wealth that is emotional wealth. We're talking about the kind of wealth that is relational wealth. We're talking about the kind of wealth that is productivity and fulfilling your purpose kind of wealth. All of those things are supplied by the infinite source of supply. So, if that's the case, how in the world can we possibly think that it will run out? That there's not enough to go around? We're not at the dinner table. We're not at the dinner table and there is just a certain amount in the bowl. There is enough. That bowl keeps getting replenished and replenished and replenished all the time, because there is no way that we can ever draw enough individually. There is no way that we can ever draw enough to deplete the resources from the infinite source of supply. Seriously. It's kind of a big universal type concept, but that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the laws of the universe. Great, so now you're like, well, how does that actually apply in my life? Because I feel like things run out. Well, they do run out in your life because that's on the physical plane, right? That infinite source of supply is on the spiritual plane. That's that place where we ask and we receive. But we have to be open to receiving. And we have to make the decision first. We have to decide that we are going to receive, right? Remember, there's the mental master. This is the idea. This is the place where we have that idea. I want to achieve. Let's say we're going to go there. I want to achieve this certain thing. So we have this idea of achievement. This line right here is the power line. Unless you decide right here to accept the idea that you're going to achieve, it will get rejected. And it will never become part of your program. And then it will never become part of your results. Right? What your program says is the thing that is going to happen in your results. So if you ask, this is where we talk to the infinite source of supply. If we ask, if we add the right emotion to it, it happens. But unless we ask and make the decision that we're going to cross over into that new idea becoming our program, we're not going to get it. This is your power line, this line of decision. You have to cross it. You have to let that idea come in. You're going to have to let that idea come in 1,000,001 times for sure if you're programmed in a different way. This is where God hears you. This is where the infinite source of supply says, sure, I gotcha. This is the heart of hearts. When it becomes your programming, when you get that future memory up there and you start to believe in it and you start to feel it and you make that decision, that is where I'm going. That is it. That is where I'm going. This is why I am moving forward. You are going to start adding this emotion that is phenomenal. You're going to get enthusiastic about the idea. And you are going to start moving naturally, easily toward the thing. and you're going to get the results that you want. But you have to make a decision. Okay, let me give you a little story example. Lyman said, my sister's getting married and she's invited us to go, but it's in Nebraska and we live in Arizona. And I said, well, are we going to go or not? He's like, well, this was several months off. Well, we'll just see when it gets there. I'm like, oh no, we will not just see. We're going to make a decision, because if we just wait and see if all the things fall into line, if if everything works out just right, then we won't go. Because we have to make the decision before we even go anywhere. So he's like, okay, well, we'll go. So then from that point on, I knew exactly where we were going. I was able to make all the arrangements that I needed to make in a lot of different areas, work areas, as well as getting kids arranged and lined out and making sure that we had extra money for spending money for the kids and all the things. But if we had waited and just floated around and, if everything comes together, we wouldn't have had the extra spending money. We wouldn't have, it would have been way more difficult to get everything arranged and put together. But once we made the decision, things just started falling into line because we knew exactly where we were going. We were excited about that. Things came that we would have never even imagined because we made that decision. We said, hey, this is what I'm asking for. We want to go on this trip. So what trip are you going on? Where are you going? Ask for it. Believe that you can get it. Make the decision right here. Cross this line that you're going to do that thing or go that place or reach that goal or accomplish your purpose in a particular area. If you don't make the decision first, you're going to float and it's not going to happen. But once you make that decision, all the things from this infinite source of supply start to conspire together. All the magic starts happening out there, and you start noticing things that you would have never ever noticed before. Oh, there's a person that can help me get to my goal. You might run into them randomly in the airport on an airplane. So many things just start conspiring, but until you make the decision, those things are not going to show up to you because you're not ready for them. You have to make the decision in order to be ready to draw from the infinite source of supply. You have to be ready for the victory. You have to be preparing for the win. If you are only preparing for the journey, then you are not drawing from an infinite source of supply. Make the decision on the thing that you want and then add the right emotion to it. Get it happy, enthusiastic. Feel that excitement of emotion, not just the random high. We're talking a long-lasting, continual process of enthusiasm. That's a whole different lesson. Feel that process of growth. Make the decision where you want to go and think you'll freak out. You just won't even imagine all the things that'll start lining out so that you can draw from that infinite source of supply. All right, guys, have a very productive and abundant day.